Welcome back to Time Warner Cable's Local Edition. My name is Brad Pomerance, and we are joined by Dan Maydeck. He is the president and CEO of the Haynes family of programs, which is doing such great work in the Laverne area. Tell us a bit about the family of programs.
Oh, thank you. Sure will. And thank you, Brad, for having me
Absolutely.
here. I appreciate it. Our organization started in 1946. Leroy Haynes was a chaplain for the Youth Authority and he and his wife decided that they needed to do something to help some kids. So they bought the Reynolds Estate in Laverne, and from that it grew over the years from 10 kids into a large therapeutic residential program. We contract with the Department of Children and Family Services, and we also operate 2 schools on site for learning disabled kids, and then we have a mental health contract. So the services have basically grown over the years.
So let's break that down if we can. Let's focus on the residential facility.
Okay.
72 boys, age 8 to basically 18. Tell us about these young boys and men.
Yeah, up to 72 kids. You know, it's a moving target to some degree. But and the age group has shifted up a bit in time because the goal is to place these kids, if they're appropriate, into a family setting more than a residential setting. But anyway, our program is therapeutic. All the kids that come in have access to mental health services, of course. The kids that are typically come to us come from an environment of abuse, neglect, abandonment. Some of the kids have been replaced or post-adopt kids that need additional support services. It's quite a tragedy, but it's a reality that we have to deal with. So our goal in that program, of course, is to create a safe environment, stabilization, provide support services, and the goal is always to move these kids, youth, back into an environment where they're more independent, or definitely in a family environment or a foster family or a relative environment to where they can continue to get the support they need and transition to adulthood. I'm sorry?
How are they doing?
We're doing pretty well. I mean,
But the kids, how are the kids doing?
The kids, some do better than others. You know, keeping in mind that many of the kids that come to the residential program that we have are older nowadays, and so they've been in and out of the system for some time, so the challenge becomes much greater. You know, our focus is on how we can, of course, create an impact so that wherever that youth goes at some point in time, they remember that and becomes a positive outcome for them.
How long are they living there?
The average right now stay is about 6 months. So it's not a real long time, and the average has shifted down over time. As you get older kids, you know, if you get a kid that's 17, 18, they're leaving anyway, they're leaving the system. And the tragedy really, much of the tragedy exists for those kids that have no place to go after age 18. Yeah.
You also have your 2 schools, one for autism, one for emotionally disabled. Tell us about those. On the same site?
Yeah, the children in our foster care population residential, almost all of those kids are educated off-site in the local education system. The kids on site that we educate, we're a state-certified non-public school. We operate a school for autism, developmentally disabled population, but also for children with other learning disabilities that could have emotional disturbance, other health impairments. 2 separate schools. We actually have about 160 kids on site every day that come in for those education programs. And we contract about 14 school districts in the region, and so that's that.
How are they
education
doing?
Well, they're doing. I mean, the word back to us is that they're doing very well. Keeping in mind that children that are in our education program are on individual education plans.
Right, IEPs.
It's really based on how they're growing within their plans, and so our goal is to continue to work with those kids any way we possibly can to transition them, ultimately, if they can, back into the public school system. But often for many of these kids, that's not where they're going to end up. It's really about dealing with social skills, you know, all the other things that you need to do.
And you also have your community outreach, of which I'm sure is very valuable. I want to thank you so much for joining us and the work you're doing for all the residents of your region. His name is Dan Maydeck. He is the president and CEO of the Haynes family of programs. I'm Brad Pomerance. You've been watching Time Warner Cable's Local Edition.